ask you this: you'll on your site again. I'll plug your site because I love your work. DeansCoolCars.com. You'll paint to order, and you have a wide variety of cars on there. And you actually started the '68 El Camino before we, the classic Game Room Empire, ended up buying our '72 El Camino.
I know. I was delighted that you got you. When I saw your unboxing video of the El Camino, I saw, thank God, he's got a great one. The '72 is really the quintessential '70s style El Camino. I also like the '74 and '5 ones, but the '72 is really the last of the powerful, decent horsepower. They still have the classic look of the '60s and '70s El Caminos, but they reworked the front end on them.
I tend to actually prefer the '71s. I think the '70s, or is it '70? Because they're basically Chevelles that are half truck, is what they are. The El Camino, if you don't know, is essentially a Chevelle with a truck bed on it. And
that's why they're so cool.
It is why they're cool. They need to make these again. The El Camino, the Ranchero, the Subaru Brat, and what was the other one? GMC made one, right? Didn't they?
They had one, a GMC version called, I think it was a Sprint, which they had for a while. It kind of mirrored the El Camino from '79 to '83 or so. I think it was in there. There was a GMC version of the El Camino, yes. And they also had it in the early '70s, too. They're very hard to find, but they're nice. GMC usually had a little bit better build quality. They were almost a notch up from Chevrolet, but they're just harder to find. But they're all cool.
My dad is more of the Chevelle expert. He has 2 Chevelles, and like the El Camino idea, because now we have something to haul equipment around in. If we need to move something from one building to another. As you can see, we're in our temporary studio here in space, which is obviously a spaceship. Or at least I like to lie to people, tell people the truth, that it's an 18-wheeler like Knight Rider.
Well, of course.
And that we come flying in here in the Trans Am, or the El Camino is in this case.
You could back out the El Camino onto the portable ramp in the back and then launch, do a Rockford file turn, and then get out of there, yeah.
There's some dude that gives us instructions and just some resident hot chick wandering around in a lab coat. If that's what you'd like to believe, then it's true. But we went with the '72. That just happened to be the best buy of all the El Caminos we were looking for our company vehicle that we're going to be taking out to some car shows and stuff this coming summer. So you'll be able to watch those on CGR Garage.
Wonderful! I can't wait to see them.
It's in fabulous shape too. The '72 didn't seem to be as overpriced as some of the '60s models. They're really expensive now.
Yeah, you can spend $20,000 very easily now for a late '60s El Camino that's in pristine shape. So you did very well, especially for back east for the rust factor. It looks gorgeous.
Well, that one, it came from the south, and it's also got some wood grain finish on the back, which is nice.
That makes it. That's just the added touch that really dials the thing in.
It's kind of like an Atari 2600, which I hold up in every single interview. But,
that's right.
But you will paint cars to order. So if somebody says, "Dean, I want a '77 Trans Am," you can actually take that order and
yes, I sure can.
And deliver a Trans Am to them in a few weeks or a few months, however long it takes you to make them.
I say about 2 weeks to paint one from start to finish.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get you busy here with this.
Well, thank you.
Let people know about the work that you do. Now, you're obviously a fan of CGR Garage, but what was the first classic game room review that you watched? Because that's where you first heard about it.
Well, it was Wolfenstein, which is a game I absolutely loved. In the early 2000s, they had Return to Castle. I had for the PS2. I would stay up for 8-9 hours at night playing it. Couldn't wait to get to the next level. I replayed it on hard, beat it. And so when I heard that the new Wolfenstein game was coming out, I said, it's time to get rid of the Xbox One and get an Xbox 360. So I finally got it. In fact, it was the same day that Wolfenstein got out. I bought and they just dropped the price that day by $50 on them or whatever. And I loved the game. So I went online immediately. I said, well, I'm going to see who else loves the game too. And I got kind of mixed reviews, but pretty much decent reviews. But your review really stood out. It was very positive. You picked out all the attributes of the game that I loved. And that's why I like your reviews. They're very positive. You have no problem if a game isn't a great game. You'll pick those points out too. But I like your positivity about the games. Singularity was another review that I liked. I went out and bought Singularity because based on the review that you had shortly after Wolfenstein. So your reviews are just awesome. And I said, this guy he thinks like I do. He's another retro gamer. He's got the same mindset. So I quickly started going through, and I bet I spent probably 2 weeks going through virtually every video you had, with beer, by the way, I might add. And I'd watch them after work. Ah, yes.
Well, they are best enjoyed with a cold beverage of your choice, of course.
They sure are.
Everybody knows that.
Whether it's Newcastle or IPA, I like a Budweiser once in a while, something kind of basic. But overall, yeah, no, I think your reviews are fantastic. I was excited to see you review other things. So you said, I want to start reviewing a CGR. We're going to have a CGR garage. I said, well, this is fantastic. So I donated 10 games to Classic Game Room, which they ended up going to Undertow. They got some great reviews. They were actually my favorite games, which I had saved. I wouldn't get rid of them until I went ahead and donated them. But I had the original Twisted Metal, Road Rash for the PS1. I had many other games. I had Manhunt, which is one of my favorites, and a few other games. Derek did a great job reviewing them. And anyway, but I had no more games to donate, so I said, well, I've got 1,000 cars around here. I mean, I've got just tons of these die-cast cars I've been collecting for years. I love them. I had some Hot Wheels. I even had Hot Wheels from 1968, which I don't have anymore. As a kid, they'd be worth a fortune today.
That's the first year they released them, right?
Yes. I had, my favorite was, and in fact, I found it on eBay. It's $100 right now, all scratched up. And it's a 1968 Eldorado Cadillac, purple. The hood opened up, and it had the red line tires on it. And I'll have to get one. I don't care what it costs, but I'll have to get one. But I did have some cars. I had these muscle machines, which to me are kind of indicative. They're, as an artist, I like the style of them. They're kind of over-exaggerated. Yes.
That's a muscle machine. If you've seen CGR Garage, we've reviewed a lot of these, and every one of them has come from you. Well,
thank you. I appreciate that. And they aren't as popular as the Hot Wheels, and Steve has got some fantastic donations. I love some of the cars that he's donated.
Yeah.
And we chat once in a while on Twitter about the different Hot Wheels and collectibles and what have you. But I think that the cars are good. And when I saw you go to the Fort Pitt Garage, you did some fantastic reviews of each of the cars, and they're being restored. And some of the ones, just kind of, incidental videos showing cars and showing them in construction. I got excited. I said, this is something I want to support. So I wanted to donate the cars that I had. And I certainly have a lot more, but I don't want to backlog you with the reviews. I know I got quite a few to get to, but I'll have plenty more. I got another reservoir of cars here for the next batch if you want me to send them.
Like I told Mohammed, I think I'm backlogged on game review donations for years, possibly a decade, because so many people like yourself and all the other supporters of the show just flooded us.
Yes,
flooded us with some awesome games. I mean, we have a room filled with games. Some of them are back there. That's actually a small percentage of the collection. Although my entire Intellivision collection is back there, I'm proud to say. I still don't have a working Intellivision.
I love your 2600 collection too.
Yeah, I do collect Atari. I collect Genesis. I'm not actually as much of a collector as people might think, because in my mind, at some point, it just turns into all the stuff that it's there that I feel pressure to use that I don't have time to use. It's like, oh gosh, I have all these things to dust now. So I try to actually keep a condensed collection to things I use. But of course, with the show, as we are hopefully embarking on a larger studio set, then a collection makes sense. So people who have donated things will see it in the background, as we're going to see your El Camino, and we see Wind Squid and all kinds of cool stuff like Unicron back there that Mohammed sent, and all kinds of other great stuff from other viewers. But I'm glad to hear you enjoyed the Wolfenstein review and Singularity, because for whatever reason, maybe just because they weren't the popular multiplayer games at the time, those two games in particular just didn't seem to get as positive a response as I thought they should have, because they were good single player experiences that were just kind of twisted and slightly out of the ordinary, but still but both very playable. And I don't recall exactly, but they're both in the same developer too, aren't they? I know Activision published.
Raven Software. In fact, I actually sent Raven a letter after playing Singularity, thanking them for two wonderful games. I said, I can't tell you guys how much I love single-player games. I play a little bit of multiplayer. The new Twisted Metal I'll play online, and Need for Speed The Run. That's the other one I enjoy playing online and do okay at it. But like you, I love the single player experience late at night with a beer, with at Vinnie Corleone next to me.
Well,
It's fun, and I love the sci-fi genre shooter where it kind of crosses over. That's why I like the Wolfenstein, and of course, I love the original Return to Castle Wolfenstein. It was fantastic. I'd love to see a HD reboot of that, by the way. But you know, for the most part, everyone likes a Call of Duty. Now, I had never played a Call of Duty until I saw your reviews of Call of Duty Classic, Call of Duty 2, 3, and 4. And that's when I went out and I instantly bought all of them. I went through and played Call of Duty Classic, loved it. Call of Duty 2 is fantastic.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite one. I think is Call of Duty 2.
I think it is too. I have 3 here. I haven't played it yet, but I've got a backlog also of games I'm trying to finish from before.
3 is excellent as well.
Yes,
and I think when they went to Modern Warfare, just I mean, while they're technically impressive games, they're way beyond me in terms of just where I'm usually at. There's like so many things going on.
Yes.
And the problem, like, I like multiplayer, but it's best to play with friends because otherwise, at least I feel like I then have to compete. But I don't have time. I don't really have time to compete. But I don't have time to perfect my game. So I end up just getting killed instantly by some cruise missile coming out of nowhere. And then I just get annoyed, and it's like I don't want to play this. I'd rather play pinball or like play something where I can just play through it leisurely at my own time. Like I'm currently enjoying both Binary Domain. Again,
I saw your review. Very good.
Binary Domain is awesome. I liked Vanquish a lot too, so that game is. I think they're very similar, and also still enjoying Devil Survivor 2 a lot. I mean, these are just games I play on my own time. Not have to worry about how well I do. You can just
a go-to single-player experience. Yes.
Yeah. And not that I have that much time to play them, but when I do, when I'm not working on them, then that's my kind of go-to game.
Sure.